Central has just been an amazing part of so many people's lives.
Because it just had such a huge influence on my life. It made me who I am, basically. And so I had to come back and see the end of it.
Central was that part of my life during that formative teenage years when you go from being a little kid and develop in towards adulthood.
Recognizing the depth of connection that people in the community have had with this school and how far people traveled to come to this reunion was unbelievable.
From 1843 to 2016. Can you match that anywhere else in Canada?
We had an official number of 1,375 registered guests, while we had over 300 that just came to visit the school and walk through the halls. So to be completely accurate, we wouldn't know, but our guesstimation is 1,500 to 1,800 would have visited the school over the course of the weekend.
I had 5 great years here at Central in athletics, basketball, and classics club, and different things like that. Three wonderful musicals I was able to experience. Yeah, just lots of great memories here. It's great to see everyone back here.
Happy Memory was the cheerleading team in 1965. We made new uniforms because we had mothers who could sew. And we liked the guys on the basketball team and the football team. And we sat through all the construction of the new wing that's now the old wing. And remember when the auditorium was built, and that was really special.
For me, it was really a kickoff to my journalism career because I ran the yearbook one year. I was the advertising manager. I wrote the columns for the Barrie Examiner. And I was a rookie wannabe reporter. And I had a lot of good encouragement here as well. So it was very important to my avocation.
There was a young girl in the band, her name was Pam Woods, and she wanted to do some track, so she and I would go out after school and train for track. And she would start at the 50-yard line and I'd start at the 0, and I'd have to try and catch her before she crossed the 100-yard line, and I could never catch her.
Well, it's just funny walking down the hall. April, my friend and I were in the band for 5 years. We went on one of the last European tours, and just coming by her and looking in the window, it's just, you're flooded with nostalgia. It's amazing. We found our picture on the wall. It's really exciting.
Playing classical music, I think really gave me an appreciation for music that kind of set me off for life. And we had just a lot of fun. We got in a lot of trouble. We went to Kirkcaldy in 1985, I think, and that was a lot of fun.
And so, yeah, today was very, very nice to receive that diploma and be able to share that with my family. And my mother was here and my daughter. And yeah, it's just, you know, I'm sure that's a simple thing for most people, but for me, that's, you know, it's a long time coming, so that's nice. I'm very grateful for the Central to, you know, offer that. I came here for my last year. And yeah, I had friends here who were involved in the athletics, and I wasn't necessarily the most athletic person at that time. I was, you know, discovering art and music, and I guess sort of the things on the outside. And so the guys, the jocks and the athletes and everything, they just kind of liked having me around because I knew how to play the guitar. And they really sort of included me in that, their social structure. So that's kind of one of the fonder memories I have of being here,
I have a fond memory of sitting in the parking lot back in the late 60s, early 70s, having the teachers look out the window and scowling at us, because as we opened the car doors, there was billowing smoke coming out of every orifice.
Performing the last school play of our town, I played Mr. Webb, one of the main characters of the play. So I was in 2015's Sympathy Jones and 2015's Dog Sees God. That one was my favorite.
I have very fond memories of this school and the people that graduated with me. And I was head girl in 1953, along with John Coburn was head boy. I had very impressive teachers, and I remember them with great affection. One of them was Dorothy Kidd, who taught me French. And I was so inspired by her that after I finished modern languages at the University of Toronto, I went to teach for her at Royal York Collegiate in Etobicoke. And then Marion Rickard, who later became Marion Farr, was my Latin teacher, and I also taught Latin. And I have had a wonderful, wonderful career, and they both of them inspired me to do this.
Probably the biggest highlight of my rugby season here was last year. We made it to OFSA as every year passed. And in our final game, everybody was beaten up, everybody was bruised, but we all knew that this was our last game playing for Central. So I actually separated my shoulder in the first half of the game, but I continued playing through the rest of the game because it was my senior year and there's no way that I was coming off the field. And I remember just all of the girls and even our coach were like, even when the game started, before the game started, we were all crying, and like during the game we were all crying, and we were all just kind of like, come on, keep going, like we're almost done, we're almost there, kind of thing. So we were really like playing for each other, which was like the main focus of Central Rugby, and just Central in total was, we play for each other, we do things for each other.
My best memory is that I met Roger, my husband, and we started dating in grade 13. My dad came to this school, my mom and dad met here, and they were married for over 60 years. They met when they were 16 and 17, the same as my husband and I. And my mother's youngest brother, Norm Cook, was killed in action, and he was a Central student. And so there's all kinds of people. I've got cousins who went here and all kinds of friends. So I was on the basketball team, I did track and field. Yes, I was a cheerleader. And our basketball team won the GBSSA, our senior team, in '69.
I made a lot of lasting friendships here, and I learned the best lesson of all about myself. I learned that you can be yourself and still be somebody special. One of my favorite memories was being in the school musicals. One, to be specific, was Oklahoma.
The Pepler Sisters. We went to Central in the 70s.
And 80s.
One of the things that both my sister Joni and I were in was the Outward Bound Club. Mr. Fell was the teacher in charge of Outward Bound. And we did a lot of hiking and canoe trips, like over spring break. We'd go up to Algonquin Park. We backpacked on the long weekend on the Niagara Escarpment. We went and did a winter hike and built shelters in the snow and slept for the weekend in the snow, and we just had a wonderful time doing that.
The foundation, I think it was, and of course this is back in the 70s and early 80s, is the foundation and the morals that we were taught, and I think that that's a really big part of who you become. I was fortunate enough to have the lead in Guys and Dolls when I was in grade 13, and that was just wonderful. And I actually didn't live in the area to come to Barrie Central, but because I joined the band and wanted to take music, this is where I came, and I'm so glad I did, because it's, with its traditions and its wonderful music program, I really learned and succeeded in learning music here.
I played the saxophone, and I worked my way up from sitting at the far end to being able to sit in the first chair as the first alto saxophone. And my music conductor and teacher was Mr. Morley Calvert, and I credit a lot of my love for music for Mr. Calvert.
I was a band student, and grade 10 band was my homeroom, and my locker was one of these lockers here behind us. So this hallway, spent a lot of time in this hallway.
Something that I really remember about Central was when we graduated from grade 13, there was a sleepover on the front lawn. And there were quite a lot of us that were actually camped out on the front lawn of the school, and I just think it was a great thing, firstly because my parents allowed me to do it, and secondly it was just a great way to finish out 5 great years in the school. For me, what made them that way was the Barrie Central Collegiate Band. I was in the band from grade 9 all the way through to grade 13. I went on 2 European trips with the band where we won gold medal in the World Music Festival. And I have friends for life. I'm here with friends that were from my high school days. We're still very much in touch. And I think these were the years that really shaped me into the person that I am today.
When we went to Europe with Morley Calvert with the band, and the band has quite a history, and we were probably the youngest band that was at Kirkcaldy competing in the World Music Festival, and we won the gold medal. And to celebrate, we all ran outside and took off our band jackets and splashed in the fountain that they had there, and it was just a bit of a crazy time and a lot of fun. And the interesting thing is I went back and lived in Germany and traveled to Kirkcaldy and visited the same place that we went to, and it somehow looked so much smaller. But it was a fantastic experience being in the band. The band gave me something that nothing else has since. It was a sense of community and camaraderie, and just, it was probably one of the most profound experiences of my life. And yeah, I feel very indebted to Morley Calvert and Fisher also for the legacy that they left Barrie and Barrie Central with the band. I remember Morley Calvert told us that if we won the Kiwanis Festival, I think that was in 1982, playing Armenian dances by Alfred Reed, that he would eat the carnation that was on his lapel. And I remember at the end of it, he leaned over and ate it.
Well, a wonderful part of being at BDCC, Barrie District Central Collegiate, when I was here, was of course the band. And the band experience was foundational to so many of us. The camaraderie, the discipline, Monday and Thursday practices for several years, plus many more when it was a special occasion. And then the depth of the fun we had and the depth of the fellowship and friendship, even though we didn't call it fellowship then, it was just such a wonderful, profound experience for all of us. In fact, we were playing one of the dance band concerts in Toronto and at a Kiwanis Club dance, and I didn't realize at the time, but the highlight of my career passed. A fellow came up and played Sugar Blues with us, and sat down. I thought, well, that was great. Good pianist. Well, it was Oscar Peterson. And so here was the height of your career, and I didn't know it. And certainly being at Central was a golden era for me. And it meant the band, basketball, golf teams, Key Club, the Junior Kiwanis Club, Student Council, they were all great things. Huge friendships, and many of those folks are still friends. I take field camps myself now as a faculty member at the University of Houston, and of course we are saying, please don't sneak out at night, kids. That's a very bad thing to do. But we had a lot of fun doing it ourselves.
The only club I was involved with at Central Collegiate was the archery club. We practiced here in this very gymnasium after school, which usually lasted about 2 hours.
I didn't take life too serious back then, as young people shouldn't. And I remember it was a beautiful spring day. It would be the end of April, 1972. And it was too nice a day to be in school. So a number of us excused ourselves from the classroom and went on the great sucker hunt. And we went out to Painswick Creek. We knew it as Sucker Creek. And we went on a sucker hunt to rid that creek of the evil species, the white sucker. And a few of them managed to make it back to Central Collegiate. Some of them, I'm not sure how, ended up in water fountains throughout the school. And some of the boys, not myself, I would never do that, they entertained themselves by putting the sucker in the water fountain and going down the hall and watching the students' reactions as they went to take a drink from the fountain.
When Team Canada was playing Russia,
We could buy a ticket that went to the United Way, all the money, and we got to watch Canada beat Russia, the final game. That's one of my best memories.
I love school. I think I missed one day in 5 years of not having perfect attendance, which meant you wanted to go to school. Everybody wanted to go to school. That's where your friends were, that's where your social life was. Between that and church, that's what we did. We went to school, our activities were all based around school, from sports to various social events, that kind of thing. And it was a very happy, memorable, safe time. In reflection and looking back, this was an extremely safe, valuable, memorable experience that most children in many countries, many big cities, even here now in Canada, don't have. So it was a great experience. Made a lot of friends, lifelong friends, that I've maintained even though I live in, a couple of thousand miles away.
Well, I'm walking around the school today and I'm looking at things that are bringing back a lot of good memories, and I'm looking at the school as a whole, and I think I'm feeling emotional and a little sad. And thinking about the fact that when I was here as a kid that I didn't look around and appreciate how great a school this was. And it makes me really sad to think that future generations aren't going to be able to have such a great school.
Well, most of it was during the rebuild for Central. The first year I was here was the old school. Great friends, with lifelong friends that we still see. And I met my wife here and
went to a lot of the dances here. So as I was in grade 10 when I met, and you were in grade 11. So we married now for 40 years, and some of the teachers taught both of us and both of our daughters. Mr. Honey was one of them.
Our friendships,
Yes.
Definitely our friendships. The teachers were a great inspiration on a lot of us and made a really good impact on a lot of our lives. And to this day, it's taken us forward with our futures and things that we've done.
And we've all stuck together. That we have one of the biggest gatherings from our year. And we had an awesome night at the dance last night.
Yeah,
we're looking
it was
forward
super.
to the pub night tonight.
Go Central. The cafeteria. Well, besides the French fries, the best French fries. Oh, and macaroni and cheese. Macaroni and cheese. And the ladies at work were like awesome in there. They were like, get a little extra here, or a little bit extra gravy there. And then there was always detention.
Detention. We kept everything
And depending
together.
on who was in detention, some of us got detention so that we could join the rest of us just to hang out afterwards and draw and talk and be alone in the cafeteria.
Yeah.
I remember studying a lot. I was pretty serious about my education and doing well in school. But I do remember how important it was to look good, to walk down the hall and be checked out by all the boys. I was pretty boy crazy in those days.
It was a perfectly wonderful place to teach. I think we had the best of all years. The staff were terrific. We were friends. We would gather in our staff room and sit together at lunch and chat. And there was a special place up in the library. We'd go up there and drop in and have coffee and sometimes cake if there was somebody's birthday. And we still continue those friendships. I still see these people continually.
It's sort of like a coffee house where all the students and the teachers come to the library, listen to some music. Sometimes there's snacks and coffee. And so it's just sort of a performance. Sometimes there was an open mic, and it's always been a fun time.
Central gave me a chance to be silly, and that's kind of, and develop my abilities, because I tell people I don't really have any particular abilities. I can't build anything. I don't have a great mathematician's mind. I don't have any of those kinds of things, but I can play, and that's what they allowed me to do here on the stage, here at W.A. Fisher Auditorium. We did all kinds of plays and sang songs and did goofy things, and just allowed me to be a kid that never grew up. Central was more than just a place to go and learn how to write and learn mathematics and geometry and sciences and things like that. It was a place to grow up, to develop relationships with people that have lasted, I think, for most of us, 40, 50, 60 years, depending on who they are.
I would personally love to thank each and every volunteer that committed to this entire project. They did a fantastic job. I don't think I've heard anyone say a regret at all, and that's kudos to all of those volunteers. They were fantastic.
Way back when I went here, the smallest gym, we had rifle shooting. They give us converted army guns and live .22 shells to practice shooting at the targets at the other end of the gym. Me, I couldn't hit the target. I knocked the thumbtack out once and the target fell down, but it was amazing. Then they had the militia. We all had to dress up like soldiers in real uniforms and that marched from City Hall down to here. But it wasn't my cup of tea, so I volunteered for the radio corps and I sat out behind that arena and pretended we're talking.
Well, basketball was a lot of fun. I actually stopped playing hockey because I love playing basketball here so much. The coaches here were amazing, right from grade 9 coach John Irving, who said I hustled too much in practice and try out to cut me, which was amazing. It made me feel really good. And then to go on to play 4 years with Coach Terry Olaski, Coach O, was amazing. Just the trips that he took us on, being able to go outside of the province to BC and Montreal, things I'll never forget. Playing 5 years of basketball here at Central was truly a really fun and enjoyable time, and went on to coach basketball too, so it really ingrained basketball in me as a love of mine, and I can't say enough about being able to play here, and play here today with some of these guys would be a lot of fun.
Well, we had fabulous teams here in the 80s. That was the time when we had 3 teams, midget, junior, senior. We had great coaches. The boys and the girls played 5 years and moved up from each team, and we were pretty competitive. I think the 1990-91 series stands out. Most of the boys behind me here, they played on that team, and we had a huge rivalry with the Innisdale Invaders.
I remember for the first time we went to OFSA, I was always the 6th person off the bench. I never started in senior ball. And at OFSA we had our point guard was sick, our forwards were both sick, someone got hurt, and so I was all of a sudden starting at OFSA, and I was just like, I don't know how to do this, because we were playing teams from Toronto that were like twice my size, and I was guarding the girls that were 6'4", and I'm certainly not 6'4". So I always found it funny when the coach would be like, okay, you go guard the girl that's 6'4", and I was like a foot shorter than she was.
Well, the guards could go 2/3 one way on the court, and the forwards could go 2/3 the other way. So our job was to be fast, get the ball up 2/3 and pass it to somebody who was good at shooting. And I wasn't good at shooting and I was short, so that's why I was a guard. I was fast, grab the ball and get rid of it quick.
I used to live beside TR, and we used to have dress down days. And he didn't like that. He'd send me home, and the worst part is when my mother found out about it, that was even worse.
One memory that will never leave me is played in a rock band in high school, and we played minor dances all around town and some out of town as well. Finally landed a gig to play a major dance here at our high school. This was back in the days when the song Purple Haze was in our repertoire, and we had the right idea to let off a small smoke bomb of purple smoke while we played that song. We misjudged the amount of smoke. The entire gym was filled with purple smoke. They had to let people outside. We ended up paying for people's dry cleaning bills to fix their clothes and spent 2 days in the principal's office hearing about all the things we did wrong.
I was just talking with someone earlier about I guess band. It was such a big time commitment. You know, we used to have practices 7 to 9, Tuesday and Thursday nights, and just that camaraderie and making something together as a group with Mr. Calvert as our leader. It's just a wonderful experience.
No, we practiced in the old auditorium. This wasn't built until after we graduated, the Fisher Auditorium. We played in the we played in the old auditorium that Mr. Fisher called a shoebox. He hated it.
I became a music teacher because of the influence of W.A. Fisher. So I have spent my whole life teaching music. And what I think set Mr. Fisher aside from most music teachers at the time and still is that he combines the technical proficiency with the musicianship and the heart of the music. He always got to the heart of the music. He touched your soul with his music.
On the trip to the Seattle World's Fair, we were housed at one point in the Sigma Chi rooming house, and it was my turn to wash up my secret underthings. And so I washed them up, but it was going to be awfully hard to get them dry, so I hung them on a clothes hanger near a window in a breeze. And yes, a breeze came up and grabbed them off the hanger and took them right out the window and downstairs. So I had to go out in the middle of the night and put a stone in a door to make sure I could get back in, and walk all the way around the Sigma Chi rooming house in order to find them, because of course I went out a wrong door and was on the exact opposite side of the building. So I found them, and I was bringing them back, and I found the door I had blocked open, and I was flipping the leaves and sand out of them as I came through the door, and standing right in front of me was Mr. Fisher. And he was on his night rounds of making sure all was quiet, and he looked at me, and I looked at him, and his eyes twinkled, and my eyes twinkled back, and we went on our way.
I think we can be really proud of our school and our teachers and our students. So, hooray for Central.
There's thousands upon thousands of people whose lives were touched by their years at Central, and really deep roots in the community, and I hope that people don't forget Central, even though the building's gone.
We were one through the whole entire weekend. There was no separation or segregation of decades. We were one, and we were proud together, and that feeling I will carry with me too, of just being part of Central Collegiate.